What is good, people? Welcome back to the channel. KG is back. It's time for a brand new video talking all things Manor Solomon today. And will Leeds United sign the player upon promotion in the summer? Before we get into it, like the video, subscribe to the channel, of course, drop your thoughts and comments below. And I'm going to throw out a whole bunch of information here in terms of Manor Solomon, the chances of us signing him, chances he may go elsewhere if we're promoted. So stay tuned. Thank you to all existing members of the channel. Big up to every single one of you. Thank you for that support. It really does go a long way. And if you want to become a member of the channel, the link is in the description. So getting into this, Fabrizio Romano has recently reported about Manor Solomon's future. And he says that Leeds United are keen on a permanent deal for Manor Solomon this summer. And, you know, this report here says it's no surprise. He's been outstanding, but there will be plenty of competition. But Leeds will hope their trust in his fitness is rewarded. So it's one of those where, first of all, we have to get promoted. That's the first thing. If we're not promoted, we're out the conversation. So kill that one there. If we are promoted and Manor Solomon is available and Tottenham are willing to sell, which by all accounts, it sounds like that is the case, then I do think Leeds should be in the mix, but there's a few factors involved. I've already said, and the reason why I'm talking about this one is because we've kind of already touched on it on this channel about Manor Solomon and his future and would I want him here? And the answer is yes, in terms of Premier League, because he is a Premier League player. I do think that there will be a few clubs in for him, and I think Everton are one, and I think that's just one of a few that could be in for him. So it's going to be interesting in terms of the dynamic of Manor Solomon if he's to sign here, because if he signs it, it does mean we will lose players. And first of all, let me just get into, I mean, his raw numbers alone, 7 goals, 7 assists. That doesn't even tell half the story of how influential he's been during these past few months on the pitch. Where even in some of the periods of games where we're looking a little bit poor, he's been the one that has come through. He's trying to create something, make something happen, and he's been good for that. And his fitness since shall we say December has held up very well. I still want to see that for the remainder of the season. I want to see how good his knees do hold up. But the fact that there's so much interest in him just shows you that his past injury issues, people are saying, well, what have you done for me lately? And what have you done lately is you've been a key player at Leeds United, which, as I've said many times, and I'll repeat again, when you do well at Leeds United Football Club, you get interest in you. It just happens. History and time has shown that. And Manor Solomon's stock has obviously gone up. Now, last summer, he did want to stay in England. We know that he rejected moves to Ajax and other places around Europe, in Italy too. But his circumstances may have changed. Maybe he would be more open to a move abroad this time. So that could be a possibility. Staying at Leeds United because he's been here, he's already ingrained in the club in a sense. He knows his way around. He'll know people here. Maybe he feels comfortable here after a couple of a dodgy spill at Spurs. Maybe that could come into it. But we know with footballers, in the main, it's opportunity and money. That is it at the end of the day. As much as feeling comfortable does mean a lot, like Joe Rodon being one example, rejecting Premier League moves to come back to Leeds. It does happen. But in the main, money talks. And look, there's a few teams in the Premier League that I could see being interested in Manor Solomon. Obviously, we'll just skip down the table a bit here. Yeah, not even Bournemouth, not Brighton, not so. But what about his old club Fulham, where he did have an impact at Fulham when he was there? 4 goals in, I think, 19 appearances. So, it does show it's not an outstanding hit rate, but you could see with a couple of years of more experience in England that maybe Fulham could think, maybe he could do a little something for us. Brentford, that could be an interesting one, maybe. But what about Palace here, people? By the way, Palace, they're just having the Crystal Palace of seasons, aren't they? Look at that. Mid-table, 9 wins, 9 draws, 9 losses. It's just, you couldn't get more Crystal Palace than this, could you, really? You really couldn't. But look, Palace, could they be in the mix? I don't know. Spurs, we already know that he's unwanted there. Don't see it for Man United, not West Ham either. But the two that are just above the drop zone, Everton and Wolves, I could see them being interested in Manor Solomon. I do. And maybe there could be others as well, people. But the point is, there's going to be interest in Manor. And with that, though, if we were to win the race to get him, it means someone's leaving. And this is going to be something that I'll be covering in a later video because I don't want to get into everything on this one. But if he's staying, we're losing somebody, or maybe even two. Because as much as everyone is happy right now and everyone is going in the same direction, everyone has the same goal, which is to get Leeds United promoted and obviously get contractual bumps in the pay. But everyone is singing off the same hymn sheet. But conversations happen at the end of the season. Conversations happen in the summer, and if Manor Solomon remains our number one left winger, which he should, which is just that's just how it is, then maybe Ramazani, Nonto have conversations, say, well, what am I doing here? What's my future looking like at this football club? Because their agents will definitely have intel that, look, you could be a first team player, you could be a starter at this club here. Let me try and sort out a fee for you. So those are the things that are more interesting to me, because we've got an over amount of left wingers. We need to focus on other areas of the pitch too. So if we're signing Solomon on a permanent, which I do completely understand Leeds United's point of view for doing it, then someone's leaving. We're not going to be keeping Solomon, Ramazani, Nonto in the Premier League. It's not happening. Someone will leave in the summer, if not two. Also, then there comes the price. We gotta speak about that. And we've spoken about it briefly on here, where a viewer's brought up a comment, how much do you think is acceptable? And 15 to 20 seems the sweet spot. But if there's competition for him, that Tottenham are obviously going to try and put the price up as much as possible. But for me, I don't know if you can go to up to 20. I honestly don't know. I don't think he's going to sign a new contract there. I don't think Spurs have got any interest in sending him out on loan for it. I think he's got 1 year left on his deal. It's going to be a permanent fee. And I think 15, and then if you put add-ons onto it, if we survive, I can accept that. I can accept that, because 15 million for a winger these days is very cheap. I know it doesn't sound cheap, but it is very cheap. And I look at it another way. If you're giving me Manor Solomon for 15 million plus add-ons, I much prefer that deal over 10 million for Jaden Anthony or Tom Cannon for 10 million. It's just night and day. There's just no comparisons between the three players. And I just think that in tight games, and I'm looking at the bottom of the league right now, obviously Ipswich, Leicester, Southampton, adios, you're gone. But I'm looking at the bottom of the league, the Everton, the Wolves, the Palaces, Brentfords. Can Manor Solomon, when you picture those games, do you see Manor Solomon being a factor? I do see him being a factor in those kind of games. So I do understand it. But what I will say is, people, don't don't put all your hopes on him staying, even if we get promoted, because he is just a loan player. There's no obligation, there's no option to buy. It was a straight up loan. And if he decides that his future lies elsewhere, maybe he wants to stay further south in England, maybe he does want to go abroad now, I wouldn't hold it against him. But I would just say, don't get attached and feel that he owes us something because he stayed fit here, because he's done his part. He's more than done his part in order for us to be 7 points clear of third as I'm recording this video. So yeah, just don't get attached. Don't get attached. But if he does stay, it just throws up an interesting dynamic with the rest of the forwards that we have in the group, because we definitely need another right-sided player. That's for sure. We cannot go into the Premier League with just Dan James on his own. It can't happen. But yeah, I mean, by the way, and this is something else in regards to the Solomon. I feel that he makes a bit of a difference when we're looking at the bottom three here. They've literally won 9 games between them. 9 games. And as you can see, when you're looking at the league, because they've been so poor, Wolves have been able to win just 6 and be 5 points clear of third from bottom. But 7, 9, 10, it's around those kind of numbers you need in order to survive. And can he be one of the difference makers? Because obviously we're going to need a lot more. I do feel he could be, but it just throws up a dynamic. Who's going to be the one to leave, if not both? We shall see, though. We shall see. But guys, give me your thoughts in the comments. Would you sign Manor Solomon first of all on a permanent in the summer? Let me know that. What would be your price point? What do you think is a reasonable price for him? Is 15 too much? Do you feel 15 is too much? Let me know that. And yeah, just give me your thoughts in the comments below. Like the video as well before you go, and I'll see you after the West Brom game. Peace out, people.